Hello students, welcome back to the history class. Well, we have already started the chapter called the French Revolution, and in the last class we have studied about the new middle class. So today we are going to learn about the outbreak of the revolution. Okay, let's start then. King Louis XVI had to increase taxes for reasons you have learned in the previous section. So we all know that King Louis wanted to increase the taxes. Now, you know the reasons also because we have discussed this in the previous classes. So what are the reasons? Number one, France was involved in a lot of wars because of which the treasury was almost empty. Number two was the cost of maintaining an extravagant court at the immense palace of Versailles. A lot of money was being spent on the maintenance of the palace of Versailles. France also helped the 13 American colonies to gain their independence from Britain. So because of all these reasons, the treasury was almost empty. So now King Louis decided to increase the taxes. But in France, the monarch means the king, did not have the power to impose taxes according to his will alone. So he did not have the right to increase the taxes. So who had the power to pass his proposals for new taxes? The answer is the Estate General. The Estate General was a political body to which the three estates sent their representatives. So we know that there were three estates in France. The first estate consisted of the clergies, the second estate consisted of nobles, and the third estate consisted of the commoners. So on 5th May 1789, the king called together an assembly of the Estate General. Why? To pass proposals for new taxes. The last time it was done was in 1614. A resplendent hall, resplendent means attractive hall, was also prepared for the assembly of the Estate General. The first and the second estate sent 300 representatives each. Okay, the first estate had 300 members. The second estate also had 300 members who were all seated in rows facing each other on two sides. While the third estate had 600 members and they had to stand at the back. So from third estate also, only the more prosperous and the educated members, okay, they represented the third estates. And peasants, artisans and women, they were denied entry to the assembly. Next is about the voting principle. Okay, so voting in the Estate General in the past, okay, पहिला चाहिँ कसरी हुन्थ्यो that each estate had one vote. Whether to pass the resolution or not in the assembly, each estate had to cast one vote. Okay. So this time also, King Louis wanted to follow the same principle, like one estate, one vote. But this time, the members of the third estate wanted to change the voting principle. Okay, they demanded that each member should have one vote. Instead of each estate one vote, now the members of the third estate demanded that each member should have one vote. But the King Louis XVI rejected this proposal, and so the members of the third estate, they walked out of the assembly in protest. So on 20th June, the representatives of the third estate, they all assembled in the hall of an indoor tennis court in the grounds of Versailles. Okay, the representatives of third estate, they all assembled in the tennis court where they declared themselves as a national assembly. Okay, and they also promised not to disperse till they had drafted a constitution for France. They were led by Mirabeau and Abbassies. Though Mirabeau was born in a noble family, but he was also against the feudal privilege. He also delivered powerful speeches to the crowd assembled at Versailles. Abbassius, who was a priest, wrote an influential pamphlet means booklet, called What is the Third Estate? During this time, a severe winter led to a bad harvest, crop failure, okay, poor harvest bio. Then the price of bread also rose. Even bakers started exploiting the situation by hoarding supplies. Hoarding means they started hiding supplies. After spending hours in long queues at the bakery shop, crowds of angry women, they stormed into the shop. They attacked the shops also. So on 14th July 1789, the angry crowd stormed and destroyed the Bastille. Next, in the countryside means rural areas. Okay, so in the rural areas, villagers heard a rumor. Rumor means halla, gossip. They heard a rumor that the lords of the manor means big houses in the rural areas. Okay, the owners of this manor, they are sending brigands. Brigands means bandits, robbers. Okay, they are sending brigands to destroy their ripe crops. So, when peasants heard this rumor, they also started collecting or seizing hoes and pitchforks. Now, hoes and pitchforks are agricultural tools. Okay, now they are peasants, they do not have any weapons, so they started collecting these agricultural tools, okay, in order to counter attack the bandits. Now, these angry peasants also started attacking the chateau. Chateau means castle belonging to a king or a nobleman. These peasants even started looting the hoarded grains. Hoarded means hidden. Lukako grains. They started looting the hoarded grains. They even burned down the documents that contain the records of manorial dues. Okay, that means जुन चाहिँ dues थियो, जुन चाहिँ बाँकी उनीहरूले तिर्नुपर्ने थियो आफ्नो लर्डहरूलाई है, आफ्नो लर्ड अफ द मेनोजहरूलाई, त्यो बाँकीको रेकर्डहरू everything was destroyed. So when these peasants started attacking the houses of nobles, the nobles had to flee from their homes. Okay, bhagnu pare unaru, they had to flee from their homes, and many of them migrated to neighboring countries also. Now the last paragraph. So when people started revolting in France, King Louis XVI, finally he had to give recognition to the National Assembly. Okay, and the king also accepted the principle that his powers would from now on be checked by a constitution. Okay, so king accepted that also. So on the night of 4th August 1789, the National Assembly passed a decree abolishing the feudal system of obligation and taxes. Okay, that means feudal system in France ma, that system was abolished. Number 2, members of clergy too were forced to give up their privileges. Now we know that the clergies enjoyed certain privileges in France. So अब के गर्नु पर्यो, the clergies also had to give up their powers, give up their privileges. Number 3, tithes were abolished. Okay, जुन चाहिँ tithes taxes थियो, the taxes that had to be paid to the church, that tax पनि के भयो, the tithes were also abolished. Lands owned by church were confiscated. Confiscated means to seize. Okay, जति पनि चर्चको ल्यान्ड थियो त्यो डल्लै सिज गर्यो नेसनल एसेम्ब्लीले. And as a result, the government acquired assets worth at least 2 billion livres. So with this, we have come to the end of the lesson.